Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am TheSaffronMan and this is Red versus Red's For or Against. I'm here with my friend Sporadiclese. We have three statements where we want to try and get your opinion of your final thoughts. One of us is going to be doing the for and the other is going to be doing the against, offering you both sides of the story so you make your own decision. Who's for or against this week, Sporadiclese?
I believe I'm going to be taking the against this week.
Okay, alright.
And so looking forward to seeing kind of what we came up with.
Alright, okay, so our first question then, which I'm going to be for, I'll go first since it's for, and it gives you a chance to be a rebuttal, I suppose. The first question is the best centre-back pairing that we have at the moment. Obviously, this is going on from our prediction, Sporadiclese's prediction. Obviously, wanted Martinez and De Ligt in the starting 11. We started with Jonny Evans and Harry Maguire. We also have Lenny Yoro there as well. We have a couple of others, like Lindelof is there as well. But so who is our best centre-back pairing? Now, ultimately, on paper, you would say Martinez and De Ligt, just for their prestige, their experience, their past performances, not just for club but for international. But this season's been a bit rocky for them. It hasn't been the best, and De Ligt's just turned up. He's finding a little bit difficult to kind of get up to speed, but I've got no doubt he's going to be a world beater for us at Manchester United. If not in the very near future, then maybe next season or beyond. He's still only 24, so he's got plenty of time to settle in at Manchester United. But we needed to trust the centre-back pairing today, and we relied on the old stalwarts, the veterans of Maguire and Jonny Evans, and they put in a performance today that we haven't seen from any other defender, even this season or last season. They just, even though Maguire only lasted 45 minutes, in that 45 minutes they showed cohesion, they showed togetherness, they showed an understanding of where they were, when to press, when to go forward. If you remember, they came on at Porto and actually rescued the game. Jonny Evans said, look, we need to win this here. You go forward, I'll stay back, you go and get the head. And he scored the goal, which got us the third goal to get us a point at Porto. So, look, we are getting results. Now, we can't rely on Maguire and Jonny Evans for every 90 minutes of every game for every season. We need the young defenders in De Ligt and Martinez to do in the hard work, and they need to improve. But in terms of our best pairing, it has to be Maguire and Evans after this 45-minute performance after Aston Villa alone. In Porto, they were even good. They come on at half-time, whatever it was, and they made the difference. They just put themselves on the line. If they get injured, getting a tackle in, so be it. They'll play it for the rest of the injury, or the rest of the match with that injury. They'll hobble on. They'll go in for another tackle. They'll put their body on the lines. They'll get the headers. They wear their heart on their sleeves. They play for the badge, and they put anyone else to shame because De Ligt and Martinez's efforts are nowhere near what Jonny Evans has been putting in of late, and he's 36-year-old. Like, I don't know what he's drinking or what he's eating, but in terms of performance, this season, our best pairing is Maguire and Jonny Evans. Just from results, stats, everything kind of backs it up in my opinion. Next season, the season after, definitely going to be moving forward towards maybe Lenny Yoro and Martinez or Lenny Yoro and De Ligt. We'll see. Apparently, there's rumour we want to sign another centre back. I don't know why, but look, this right now, it has to be Maguire and Evans, and I would love to see your take on that, Sporadiclese.
I mean, I think if you look at the matches where they have been paired up, and the team that is around them and the play style that we have, kind of taken on in a lot of those games, it is not the same. It is not a like for like in terms of the team that they're getting put into. Whenever we're playing them together, our team as a whole ends up playing more defensively. We saw Marcus Rashford and Alejandro Garnacho getting back constantly today. Eriksen and Mainu, they didn't venture forward as much physically. They were covering a bit of ground, but we weren't really pressing up very high in terms of, them, making those runs forward. We just discussed how Mainu hasn't been getting forward as much in recent times, and so I think that what we did today was kind of sit back a little bit deeper and try to get our opportunities where we could in terms of nicking the ball off of somebody, trying to get the ball forward, and just holding on to the ball and slowly moving forward instead of okay, well, we got the ball, everybody dash forward, let's try and counterattack and getting caught out of place. So I think that Evans and Maguire have been aided based on the style of play that we have adopted with both of them on the pitch. There's obviously not a lot of pace in between those two. And so whenever you're going up against pace on the other side of the ball, and like an Ollie Watkins, you have to be more compact. And that's what we saw today. We saw everybody kind of pinching in a little bit. We'll give them the wings because we know that we have the aerial dominance. And I'm okay with that. I think that was a good decision to make if you're going to pull off De Ligt and Martinez. But whenever we play De Ligt and Martinez, we assume that they have that athleticism, that pace to be able to deal with a lot of those issues. And we did not see that against Porto, because Rashford was not tracking back in the same way. We were trying to play a bit more on the front foot, and we were much more open in those games. So to say that, based on one or two performances is not indicative of a trend, right? And so you have to take everything into consideration. What's the play style? How frequently are we using them? How frequently can we use them? Because the best center back pairing, you're playing week in, week out. And I just don't see that you're going to be able to do that with Jonny Evans and Maguire. If you do that against, an Arsenal team or a Liverpool team, you're going to have a bad time. We obviously had a bad time against Liverpool, and they were not our starting pairing. But, you have to consider style of play and everything to that effect. I think long-term, you are going to be looking at, Martinez and De Ligt or Euro and De Ligt. And those are going to be our better options. And I think, once those players have meshed well together or have the opportunity to do so and understand how the players in front of them are going to be playing, because right now, we're kind of all over the place. We're going back to the who's going to be the the players that we're playing week in, week out. And so, until those relationships have developed better, yes, Jonny Evans and Maguire was a good pick today, but also the tactics that we employed were also conducive to us getting that draw. So I can't say that Jonny Evans and Harry Maguire is going to be our best center back pairing long term.
Long term wasn't the question, was it?
Well, sure, but again, if you play that same style with Martinez and De Ligt in there, I think you get a comparable performance, if not a better performance.
I mean, styles make matches, but styles don't win you points, right? It's like you want your goalkeepers.
Styles absolutely win you points.
No, you want goalkeepers to stop shots. You want defenders to defend. You want strikers to shoot and score goals, and everything else is a bonus. But you want your guys to play their position first and foremost, and then offer additional attributes. And I just don't think we've got better defenders than Jonny Evans and Harry Maguire. Like, defenders. Like, Martinez can stroll forward. He's got a strike on him. He's got a pass on him. He's got a long ball. He's got vision. And it's got a bit of tenacity. As awesome. De Ligt is a powerhouse. He can charge forward. He leads by example and everything else as well. But as actual defenders, they're not at the level yet. But they've got time on their side. Remember, these are, Martinez and De Ligt are younger models of Maguire and Jonny Evans, who have been there, done that, literally got the t-shirt. And so I think just in actual centre-back defenders, as in stopping the opposition getting chances and blocking shots and making tackles, I think they're the best pairing. But I mean, again, they've got years ahead of De Ligt and Martinez, who have got at least another 5-6 years to kind of catch up and gain that experience. And if De Ligt and Martinez were to reach the level of Evans and Maguire by the time they reach the same age, I think they've had a glittering and fantastic career. So we'll see. Where we're going to be at this one, I'm happy to leave this one kind of white. I think I believe they are the best partnership right now, but as you said, in the future it's definitely going to be like either Euro or Martinez or Deleo or something like that. But I think right now it's a bit of a grey area, and we're just fresh off the Villa result where they had an amazing performance, and so I'm happy to kind of leave that white. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean it's tough to say because they have the most experience together in this setup, right? Mm-hmm. But in terms of if we need a game changer, I think it's tough to say that they're going to come in and they're just going to dominate every single team that they come up against, and so. I think there's a lot of room to tinker with. I mean, maybe you pair up Martinez and Maguire again because Martinez he was out for a pretty significant portion of last season. So, maybe see what that pairing looks like because Martinez has the legs and Maguire's got the aerial dominance and the power. So I think that they could complement each other really well. So it's just tough to say that that's absolutely our best pairing. So I'm fine with leaving it white.
Again, the whole premise and concept of 4 against is at some point we're going to be going live and hopefully getting some live feedback for you guys. So myself and Sporadiclese won't be making the ultimate decision. We'll leave that to the live chat whenever we start doing live shows. So until then, we'll just kind of make the decision. You guys can ultimately make the decision yourselves. Let us know in the comment section below which side are you against. Are you with? Are you for? Are you against? Let us know. We'll leave that white for the time being as undecided. You let us know what you guys think. All right. And number 2 question is Rashford's biggest flaw is his mentality. Would you like to go first or second, Sporadiclese?
I mean, I guess I can go. I think.
So remember, Sporadiclese is against on this one. So showing the performance, off you go.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the system is kind of failing him at the moment, and you look at what he's been able to do in some of these matches. Yes, he had a rocky start to the season, but you also look at the type of service that he's been getting, and he's not been at the forefront of the minds of a lot of the players around him to look for those runs. He makes really good runs. He's trying to get in behind the lines, and nobody's trying to pick him out. And I think, after you do that 5, 6, 7, 8 times in a match, and you're still not getting that service, that's not really a him problem. I think that it's the system that we're kind of creating around this team. We obviously Eric Ten Hag wants to play out of the back. He wants to have that possession style, and he wants to, pull players around and, get the overlaps in and try and pull the opposition out of position. But sometimes all you need to do is just put a ball in over the top to one of your paciest players, one of your smartest players in terms of getting into those positions and timing the runs. We know that he can score goals. He's done it for us before. He's had a pretty decent patch here recently. We need to be feeding him the ball more. We need to be giving him the types of opportunities that we know he can flourish as long as he's getting them. And right now we're just not. I think that with Xerxes on the pitch in particular, he's able to pull a lot of those center backs out of position, and it allows space in between those defenders, the fullbacks and the center backs, for Marcus Rashford to exploit. Just not getting him the ball. We're not playing him the ball, and so after doing it game in, game out, just you're on repeat, just thinking, well, is it a me problem? What am I doing? Why is it me that I'm not getting the type of service that I need to thrive? And so I think that it's really the style that we've opted to play that has been more of a hindrance than his mentality.
So, again, on the full side of things, I think Marcus is getting a service, and if anything, he should be the one providing a better service. He's getting the ball, and he's either getting tackled. Over the last few games, he's been really good, back to his best. But when we talk about mentality, we're talking about professionalism on and off the pitch, right? He's going on these trips to Ireland last season, and we had to leave him out a couple of times because of off-field interactions or activities for whatever reason, so that's fine. And he comes back and he kind of silences the crowd every time he scores. He puts his finger to the head, like, it's all a mental thing. Like, and I get that, but when he doesn't track back and people get angry about him for not tracking back, and then he does track back and he makes stupid tackles whilst he's tracking back because he's not happy tracking back, or he wants to show an emotion of, I don't know, he just doesn't like tracking back, and he doesn't have the mentality to defend, or he's not a team player at the moment. He's a very individual player. He can make individual moments. He doesn't. Yes, he's had a few crosses of late this season, which should have been finished. Xerxes for one. I remember he should have finished a couple. Garner should have finished a couple as well. I think there's one glaring cross which I'm trying. It might have been Xerxes that missed that as well. I can't remember, but there's one he crossed it in with his left foot. I think. Oh, that's right. And it was last week against the Palace, where Garnacho had the volley and it hit the post. I think that was a fantastic cross. He has the ability to make those passes, and yes, we should be finishing those passes. But his body language is always the first to go. His head is always the first one to drop when things aren't going well. He throws his arms up more than Bruno Fernandes at times, and he lacks focus. He needs to do his job, track back without creating silly fouls, or which puts the team under more pressure, by the way, because then they've got a dangerous free kick on the edge of the box, and that makes us look silly and vulnerable. Just stronger mentality. Do your part for the team. Be a team player. Don't throw a strut because someone like Garnacho didn't finish an opportunity for you, or like Xerxes. They should have done, and that's on them. They need to improve. You can only focus on yourself and do what you can as a team player. And I find it hard to take when you go to places like Ireland and have nights out, and then come back and start doing a celebration. And every time he scores and does this, everyone's like, yeah, we get it. But then we see performances like today against Aston Villa, where he literally got himself subbed off after such a promising performance, first half performance versus Porto, such a promising first half performance against Villa today. He was our most dangerous player, and then he gets himself subbed off when it's still 0-0, and he could have still made the difference. He could have been our game winner. He decides to make two silly challenges, which puts us under more pressure, and we have to make the subs and change things around. So, no doubt, his tactical skills and physical skills are there for all to see. One of our most talented players in the squad. I just think his biggest flaw is his mentality, and I don't know where that comes from. Because when he first jumped on the scene against Arsenal and scored those 2 goals, and then Midtjylland as well, God, he is just the most happy, most energetic, buzzing kid that you've ever seen. Always, I can't remember the last time I see him smiling. Like, what's happened to the happy Marcus Rashford? And I know all about depression and everything else, and it is a mental thing. I don't know what it is. His biggest flaw. There's no ifs or doubts about it. That's his biggest flaw.
I mean, I think that, if you do want to talk about, a specific flaw, then it's either his. I don't think mentality has as much to do with him not dropping back. I mean, yes, he wants it's. I mean, it's his personal play style, right? That's what he wants to do, and as long as everybody else is tracking back, then you can kind of compensate there in a lot of ways. But I think one thing that he really struggles with is whenever he gets into the box, all he's thinking about is shooting. He has tunnel vision for the goal.
Not as much as Garnacho. I mean, Garnacho had like 6 shots against Porto.
But he does. But he does, and I think, against Porto, there was a couple of opportunities where he basically took the ball into the box, and he goes almost all the way across the box. There's 3 other players that, he's drawing 2-3 defenders to him, he just lays that ball off to Bruno Fernandes, and Bruno Fernandes is going to finish that ball. He's going to take that shot and he's going to score. So I think that he, while yes, I do want him to take his opportunities, he needs to know when to play the ball to somebody else, because other teams do still see him as a threat. I think we've seen that, for the last few games, against Porto, they were doubling down on him. Didn't matter. He still ended up getting his opportunities. And, this game as well, I think he had a couple of opportunities where he's taking people on. He just needs to get the ball over to, Dallow's making the overlapping run. He's not playing the overlapping run because he's trying to get into the box, which that's great. But whenever you have somebody coming around and Dallow is not going to want to continue making that run over and over and over and over if he's not going to ever get the ball. And I don't know that I've seen Marcus Rashford play the ball to Diogo Dallow on an overlapping run. He just has that tunnel vision where it's, I need to get in the box, I need to do this, I need to do that. It is him centric, and again, I think that's a play style thing, it's a preference thing. I think he does need to be a little bit less selfish. And I don't think that's necessarily a mentality issue. It's more a matter of experience and picking your head up. It's great that you're picking your head up and looking at the goal, but you need to pick your head up and look at your other players too. So the vision is something that he really needs to improve on in his decision-making skills.
I think at the start of the season, where Rashford was still looking to find some form and motivation and some kind of just energy going forward, I think we were looking for that. His assists weren't really happening. He wasn't getting those advanced positions. Nothing was really kind of working. But this season, we have seen him try to make... Just the team haven't put those chances away. Xerxes, Højlund, Garnacho, Bruno, he has been finding them. But since the last week or two, where he looks like his former self again, I think that confidence has changed. He's not looking for those anymore because he knows that he can beat anyone in front of him, and no one else has got 30 plus goals in a season in our whole squad before. He is our main goal scoring threat, and he can score from anywhere inside that box. And you're right, they are running away from him, especially Porto. They were doubling and tripling up, and he was still getting away from all of them. And yes, sometimes he can just draw in three and lay it off to someone, but that's not an on-fire Rashford. Rashford will take on anyone and get those shots in. I agree to some extent with what you're saying, but that's also down to a mentality. Decision-making is mentality. So when you've got three people in front of you and you want to lay it off and he doesn't, that's a decision-making fault, and that is a mentality fault. So, yeah, I still think that his mentality is... If he had the confidence of... I'm just trying to think. If Højlund's consciousness was in Rashford's body, we would have a Haaland 2.0 on our hand. Do you mean the positive, the energy, the happiness? Yeah. I think that would be kind of crazy if we could have a fusion frenzy mold of Højlund and I think that would be absolutely great. But yeah, I think I've got to take this one, Sporadiclese. I think despite you putting up a good argument, I don't think you quite won me over on this one.
I mean, this one's hard to argue against because yeah. I mean, you do look at it and you do see the head drop, and it, I think whenever that happens early in a match, it's difficult for him to come back and get into the game again and really reassert himself. I think there are other aspects of his game that he needs to improve, but I think a lot of it does stem from his mentality of, there's so much pressure on me to score goals. I need to only look to score goals. It seems like whenever he's playing the ball off to somebody else, it's because he really doesn't have another option. He doesn't have the option to attack the person and try and attack the goal. It's, I need to play this ball because I'm not going to get anywhere. I'm being defended, and there's a defender behind that is going to just come in and take the ball. So I just need to pass the ball out, or I need to get a cross in. And so it is difficult to say that that's not a mentality thing. I think that he's a player that needs to have confidence, and right now yes, he's found an okay vein of form, but I think he's still struggling, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So let's know what you guys think down in the comment section below. I'm going to put that on to green just for my sake and make me feel better and get my confidence back a little bit. So we'll go with that. Let's move to the third one. Again, let us know what you think. Third for or against is a little bit of a fun one. Can we please cryo-freeze Jonny Evans and just keep it like, honestly, let's just cryo-freeze him, vanilla Sky style, and just once we have an invention for anti-aging or what, and then can we just like wake him back up? Like, he's just been so good. I don't know how he's signed a 1-year contract, Sporadiclese, and basically my thought process here is how can we prolong his playing career? He's 36 years old. He improves us as a team, as a squad. He's people look up to him. He's professional. He's inspiring and motivating. He's everything that we want in a defender, if I'm honest. And we spent a lot of money on defenders, over the years. 80 million on Maguire. God knows how much on Martinez. We've spent a lot on De Ligt. But mate, I think Jonny Evans is a free transfer, and on his day he outperforms every single one of them.
Yeah.
So I'm just, how can we make Jonny Evans maybe play to 38, 39? Is that even something that we want?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, it's after heaping all of this praise on him, all
it's going to get sent off next week.
It's difficult to say, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't do that. But, I mean, at some point, the guard has to change, right? We know that he's not going to be here long term. I think that what he should be doing is imparting his mentality, his knowledge, his wisdom on this newer generation. He's obviously leading by example, and that's really what we need. So I think that you need to look at pairing him up with different players and getting a bit of playing time in with each of these young guys, and really helping them develop and understand what it's like to play with somebody of that caliber.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because yes, I'd love to see him play until he's 38 or 39, and if he continues to do what he's doing whenever he is called upon, that's going to be great. But we're not going to see that. I just don't see that being, it's not going to be a long-term solution. We can't do it at the cost of developing some of these younger players. It needs to be done intelligently. We need to, basically take everything that Jonny Evans embodies and all of that prowess and experience and leadership, and that needs to go to somebody. And it needs to go to multiple somebodies, right? Martinez needs that. De Ligt has the potential to be, a captain for us in the future. He needs to be taking notes from Jonny Evans, and the best way to do that is to play next to him and understand what it's like to play with somebody of that caliber. So, yes, I think it would be great to have him longer, but I don't want to have him for so long that it's going to stymie the development of players like De Ligt, like Lenny Yoro, like Martinez. We're gonna have to pass the torch at some point.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's going to play 10 games in a row for us. I mean, I'm just trying to think of another outfield player that kind of had the same kind of experience, and it's like Ryan Giggs. Ryan Giggs couldn't play every game, but he still could turn. He actually changed position to go to the central midfield to give us what we needed. Like, I think he played till he was 40, didn't he? I can't.
Sounds about right.
So it's definitely possible, but he just leads by example, Ryan Giggs. The same kind of thing. I think Jonny Evans is made from the same cloth, and he might, like I said, he might not play for the next 2 games. It might take him longer to recover. But when he's got the time to recover and he's fit and able to play, he looked like he was half fit today, if I'm honest, with all the knocks and everything that he's got. So given he's got enough time to recover and he's fit enough to play, I think the performances that he gives us when he does play, has been higher than any other defender that we've had so far this season. So if we can have that over a prolonged period of time, maybe I wouldn't go back to his statistic. Maybe if he has like 50 to 20 appearances a season, but they're all of that quality, I mean that's probably one of the best squad players we've had in a long time. You know, so
this is going to be really weird to say, but I think the other center back that we've had that has been consistent and has been performing at an okay level regularly has been Harry Maguire.
yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where, you look at the depth chart again, I said it earlier in the podcast, that's not really like they are the players that you would expect based on everything that Erik ten Hag does and how he set up this system. You would expect them to be a little bit lower on the totem pole, but then they come out and they have a performance like that. And how can you say no to that?
Yeah.
Like how can you say this is not going to work in my setup whenever we still were, we didn't create as many chances, but we did create chances. We had opportunities. We made sure, we did everything that we could to limit the opportunities of Aston Villa today, and we did a really good job. And so, yes, we kind of packed in a little bit more, and it stymied our offense a bit, but overall, that's the type of defensive performance that we need to see week in and week out. And I know I'm kind of making your point here, even though I'm supposed to be saying against, but man, that was everything that I wanted to see defensively going right for a full 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they didn't look out of position. They didn't look like they were getting beat for pace. And it comes down to positioning and awareness, right, of what the other player is going to be doing. Because if you look at last season, what was our most played center back pairing of last season?
Oh God, it was probably Martinez Maguire, wasn't it?
Well, Martinez was out for a significant portion of last season due to injury. So what ended up happening is Jonny Evans and Harry Maguire ended up playing a lot of games together. So this is a relationship that they built over the course of last season just out of necessity, right? Like we rotated in Willy Kambwala. We had I think Luke Shaw had to fill in at left center back on occasion, but Jonny Evans and Harry Maguire are not unfamiliar on the pitch together. Mm-hmm. And so you can tell that they have an understanding of what the other person's going to be doing and what their roles are in the setup. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah, again, if we could just prolong that, especially until we finally sort out our defence and actually sort out who is going to be our next centre-back pairing, whether it be Euro or Martinez or Delay or other, if we bring another one in, I just think whatever we can do to look after Jonny Evans, because he's looked after us. Like, he didn't have to come back, and I just think we need to just wrap him up in cotton wool and keep him at the club as long as he's able. As long as he's not doing any long-term damage to himself like Phil Jones did to his knee cartilage or whatever. As long as he's fit and able to earn a wage, and actually he should be getting a whole bunch of performance bonuses, by the way, as well. Again, it's just the level of performance is the highest that I've seen from a defender so far. I just want to see more of it. Whether it be more from De Ligt or Martinez or whoever else, I want to see more of those levels of performance. And yeah, I just think he's been fantastic. So what's that? I'm going to win again? Awesome. Love that. So you can see how this this concept works. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. We've been going on for an hour and a half already, like 90 minutes. So 90 plus 90 minutes. I hope you've all enjoyed the match today. I hope you all enjoyed the podcast. Let us know what you think down below. Again, hit the follow button. When we get to 100, we are going to start a Discord channel. Sporadiclese, anything you want to say before we finish off?
Man, I think this has kind of been the season of unexpected resurgences from veterans, and honestly, man, I'm so here for it. So many good performances by Eriksen and Evans and Maguire, and I'm just really glad to see that there is still some passion for the badge. You know, I think there's one veteran in particular that I wish could play a little bit better, but you know, it is what it is, and you know, I'm gonna say I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm hopeful that we are going to turn this thing around, and that, you know, we are going to have a decent season. I think you've got to improve on 8th, and looking forward to seeing how that comes to fruition, because it will. We'll come good.
Yeah, we'll hope so anyway. But anyway, thanks again for everything and all your support today. Hope, again, you enjoyed the videos. Show your support. We're on Rumble, YouTube. We're going on to Facebook and TikTok in the future. We're going to try and do some live streams as well, so stay tuned for more information on that. I've been TheSaffronMan. He's been Sporadiclese. And we'll see you guys again during the week. So thank you very much. Until then, we'll see you next time. Peace.